Hello everyone, this is Mr. Lang and I'm back with another vlog, and this time I'm kind of showing you a little bit about the command line interface using some of the tools in the command line interface, whether it be our user commands that you see here or whether it be our file commands that we have here as well. So I'm going to start with my user commands. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on my little book right there so I can see those a little bit larger there. And I'm over in my Linux virtual machine, again a great training ground, and I need to load up my terminal. So on my keyboard you can't see me doing this, but I did a Control Alt T, and now I'm going to maybe blow that up a little bit to where it's a little bit bigger here. And as you can see in my notes, there's a couple commands, for example, shut down or reboot. We don't have to do that right now, but those are great commands, and I may show you that at the end. But the first command that I get here is ID. And so I can go ahead and type in ID in the terminal, and it will tell me the details about my active user. And right now, I am the only active user. I have B Lang here. That's my username, and I am user 1000. All right. So the next one that we kind of go through the list is last. All right, let's take a look at last, and I'll type that in. And again, the last time we logged in was Tuesday, October 3rd. And my time is off on my virtual machine. That's no good. I probably want to adjust that. So I'm going to head over to my tools real quick, head on down to details, date and time, and make sure I'm in the right time zone, because that's critical when you are an IT specialist to know when logs happen. So sorry about that. I can see now that it's Tuesday morning. So I'm going to do an up arrow on that and do it again. And yes, now my time is correct. That's a very important thing with your log. So hey, something I didn't think I was going to put in my vlog, but there you are. I'm going to also go to a Who. All right, great band. All right, and again, who was logged in at that time? And you can see again, I, Mr. Lang here, signed in at 7:13 this morning. Again, very important information if you're an admin of, hey, maybe doing some reconnaissance of who was logged in, where, and what. You can also do a W here, shows who was logged in and their activity. So again, you can kind of see when they logged in, were they idle, and whatnot. And we would learn more about this stuff as we got into more IT stuff. But the next one here is what we're really going to get into, and we need to add a new user because our business is growing and we need to add a user. So I'm going to be a super user do there, sudo spacebar add user, one word. All right, and then I have to choose my user, and now I have to do it by username. And so the first user that I have is Mr. Tom Bennett, so his username would be lowercase t Bennett. All right, and we'll do one T there. And so when I press my enter key, it's going to ask for my password. As an admin, do I have rights to do it? And I do. And now it's asking me for a password for Mr. Bennett. So I'll type in a password. It asks me to retype that. You can't see that, which is a good thing for security. But now what is Mr. Bennett's full name? And I'm going to go ahead and put in Tom Bennett there, and it may ask me a few more questions. For example, what room number are we in? So Tom's in lab 2211. Whoa, I need to, sorry about that, hit my number lock. 2211, there we go. Work phone number, this is just for demonstration, so we may do just a basic work phone number. Don't worry about a home or other. Is this information correct? Yes, it is, and I can hit Y there. So I may want to at this time see, okay, who are my users? All right, and so I can go down to this option here. I'm skipping a couple, and we'll come back to adding more users, but I can do my comp gen tag G, enter, and there's Tom. Right there, I added him as a user, so that is great. So now I don't want to type in all those commands again, so I'm going to use my up arrow on my keyboard, and the next person that I'm going to add is Mr. Mike Tyson. All right, M. Tyson for his username, and you're going to see this again asking for us to create a new account for Mr. Tyson with his full name, room number. We're going to do 2211 again for his phone number, a basic phone number. We don't have to get too crazy with that, and we'll just hit enter a couple times and do yes. Beautiful. I want to add one more user to this, so I went too far, and I'm going to add Mrs. Shannon Smith. So we'll do an S Smith for Shannon's username, and again put in the password there, and now we are typing Shannon Smith's first and last name there, room number 2211, phone number, and all of that. We'll go ahead and skip those again, and yes. So hopefully we have that. I'm going to go back to my comp gen and see, yes, there are my users. I got Shannon, Mike, Tom, and there's me, B. Lang, right there. Awesome. So we've got a users, all right, that we have added. And I am going to go down to this one because I want to add some groups, because in your business you're probably going to have some people working in human resources, you may have people working in research and development, and possibly our admin, right? So that's our next command that we're going to do. So sudo group add, again I'm looking at my engineering notebook, great to have, and human. And I don't want to have any spaces here, so as you can see, I'm using camel case here. Multiple ways you can do that, but I'm just going to double check my spelling. And you know what? I did not add a P here, so that would have thrown an error. Let me use my arrow key to go back and add a P there. All right, looks like group add, human resources. I think that's what I need to do, and I'll press my enter key. And I'm going to go to my comp gen and just make sure that I have my human resource group. Was it created? Looks like it was, so that's a good thing. I'll go to my up arrow, my group add, and I'm going to add a research. And again, using camel case development. And double check my spelling. Looks like it's okay. And one last group is going to be my administration. So I'm going to take care of that, get that out of there, administration. And I'll press my enter key there. Again, going back to that comp gen just to make sure things are hunky-dory, and it looks like they are. Great, I've added some users, I've added some groups. Now it's time, looking at my engineering notebook, to add a user to a specific group. Perfect. Let's go ahead and we are going to type in that command according to our engineering notebook. User mod. We're going to modify our user and tack A and then capital G, and then it's asking first for the group name. And our group name in this case, we'll start with human resources. And we want to make sure that we spell human resources just like we spelled human resources here. Because if we maybe missed an N or something like on that, it would be like there's no group called human resources. So always kind of double check and look back up. That's why I like that comp gen, so I can check that out. All right. So here we go. We need to add a user, and I'm looking at my notes over here, and human resources, I'm going to add Tom Bennett. So this is their username, so T Bennett. All right, and enter. And human resources does not exist. I wanted to do that. I may have had a hand up over in my class saying, hey, Mr. Lang, you put an S on there, it's going to throw an error. Sure did. I'll take care of that S right there, and now it looks like it went. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to use an up arrow, and I'm going to go ahead and add a new user to a different group, and Mr. Mike Tyson's going to go to my research and development, and double checking that with my research and development. Hopefully I won't make the same error twice, and it looks like I've added that. And so again, here is M Tyson because it is asking just for their username. Perfect. And I'm going to use my up arrow and add another user to a different group. So I'm going to jump into administration. And I'm going to put in my space bar there and add Miss Shannon Smith. All right. Administration. Looks like I did that right. And then last but not least, I'm going to add me to administration as well. So that's my username there. So, kind of cool. Again, we are going to look at now list users in a specific group. All right, but I want to list users in groups. So I'm going to go down to this because I could do it by group name. And let me show you that example real quick. So Gint int spacebar group, and maybe I want to see who is my administration. All right, and I forgot to mention I can type in add and press my tab key for that, and I could see Miss Smith and Mr. Lang are in my administration. I'm going to go ahead and do this Gint int group. That's going to list users in groups, so let's go ahead and try it. Gint int group, enter. And you can see here that I have Ms. Smith and me in admin. I have Mr. Tyson in research and development and Mr. Tom Bennett in human resources. All right, perfect. So there may be a time, though, where somebody might get terminated from the employment. Maybe they're not showing up on time or whatnot. And so I'm going to take Ms. Smith out of here. So let's go ahead and try that. Sudo user delete del, and then what user? So again, it's their username. So S Smith, enter. And now I'm going to go back to my Gint int group and look. Yes, Ms. Smith is now out of my admin group. All right. And another thing that's kind of nice is a Control L will clear the screen. I'll do that on my keyboard here, Control L. All right, but believe it or not, there is still information above. It just kind of gives me a nice new window here. Or I could actually type in the word clear, and now clear gets rid of all that stuff and starts me with a nice new user here. All right. So that's kind of for my user commands that we have added. So again, adding users, putting in groups, that is something you will do a lot. I'm going to go back to my engineering notebook and jump into my file commands real quick and just jump through some of these. As you can see, I've just did a clear on my terminal, nice fresh terminal. LS is standing for list, and you'll use that a lot. And when I do an LS, it's telling me, okay, in my home directory, well, let me do a PWD standing for print working directory, and that tells me I am in my home location on my key or on my file explorer. All right, if I would happen to open up my file explorer, take a look at this. All these directories right here are the same ones here. And then take a look, home, perfect. This is just my username right there. All right. And so what if I want to get into my documents directory? I could do a CD standing for change directory, and then spacebar, and I could do a DOC and a tab key, and it will autofill for me. And now I'm in my documents. I can do an LS. There's nothing in my documents there. If I wanted to move back up one directory, I could do a CD spacebar .. enter. And now it takes me out of my documents. But I want to get back into my documents, so I'm going to choose my up arrow to get back into my documents. And I want to make a directory. So I'm looking at my engineering notebook. A directory is the same thing as a folder. So mkdir spacebar, and I'm going to make one called employees with a capital E. All right, employees. I need an O in there, so there we go. Made a directory, and if I want to do an LS there is my employees directory. Now I want to get inside of my employees directory. I would choose my CD, capital E, and since it's the only one with an E in there, I can use my tab key and it auto fills. There we go. So now I'm in my employees directory, and take a look. If I was back in my GUI documents, there's my employees directory. I made that, all right, through the command line. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize that right now. So pretty cool. If I wanted to remove a directory, I can do an RM and then give the directory's name, and I'll explain that in a little bit. I'm going to jump over that because I want to make a document. I want to make a text document of my current employees. So inside my employee directory, makes sense, right? We're going to do a touch command, spacebar, and the file name I want to make. So I'm going to do current employees, camel case again, so that way I don't have any spaces between, but capital letters for each word. And now if I do an LS, now I have my current employees. Now I want to do a nano so I can open a text file in the editor within the terminal. Kind of cool. So I'm going to do a nano spacebar and then the file name with a C, and I can just use my tab key now because that's the only file that starts with a C in my employees directory. And now it opens up an actual editor there. And so I want to add my employees. I'm going to go Tom Bennett. And I'm going to add Mike Tyson. All right, and I'm going to press my enter key. And I'm just going to put those two in here for now because I'm going to give you an example. And down below here, you're going to see that there's a lot of what I call my TPs, top hat, whatever. That's your control key on your keyboard. So I'm going to do a control X to exit it. And then I'm going to follow the prompts. Hey, you saved this. Do you want to modify it or anything? Yes, I want to make sure I save this with a Y. This is the file name, current employees. I'm good with that. If I wanted to change the name for it, I could. I'm just going to press my enter key there because I want that to be updated there. So going along here, I can actually then open this in its default application. And in this case, a text editor. So let's try that. I'm going to do an XDG. Oops. Oh, messed up. Oh, come on, Mr. Lang. Open. And then, man, my fingers are fumbling. Open. And then the file name I want to open. And again, since it's the only one that starts with a C in there, I'm opening. And now it's actually opening up in a text editor right there. And so I want to add another name to it. So I'm going to add me to it, Mr. Lang. All right, for my other user. I just wanted to show you that example. You want to make sure you hit save so it saves, and then I can close this text editor. And now if I just wanted to see what was in the file itself, I could do a cat command. So CAT spacebar, again the file name. And now I can see what was in that file itself. Now I've only got 3 things in there, so this one's going to be kind of mute. But if I want to see the first 10 items of a file, you got to remember some of your files for your companies are going to be very long. If you want to just see the first 10 lines, then you could just do a head and then the file name, tail, file name, same thing. All right, but what if I wanted to rename this? This is a good one. Last kind of command here, MV, and I want to give the file name with a C, tab key, and maybe I want to rename this to current employees today. Enter. And then I'm going to go up to my LS or maybe type it in, and there it is. I've renamed that. All right, so that's another one that you could do. So again, great commands that we have. If you ever want to say, okay, I need to now shut down my computer, the sudo shutdown now is always a great command. You never want to just press the power button on your computer. That is no good. It can mess things up, and you can see that my virtual machine now is powering down. So kind of cool. Thanks for hanging out with me during this vlog. If you have any questions, please go to my portfolio's contact me page. Send me a message. I would love to talk. Have a great day.